What's up, guys? It's your boy Abdullah from Athler Gaming, and I know we haven't uploaded a video in a very long time, but I know you guys see the beard growing out. It means we've been in the lab, we've coming up with some crazy stuff, new combos, new decks. It's basically a new format with some of the stuff that's come out, and this is one of the newer decks. It is Salamangreats. Everybody knows that the structure deck dropped, last Thursday, last Friday, and since then the deck's really taken the meta by storm. It's a very affordable deck. It's a great budget deck. Not just that, the deck itself comes with a lot of really good reprints, and I'm going to go into the deck and I'm going to tell you why I believe it is one of the top contenders in our current format. So, and I want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons. If you guys want to check out the Patreon, you guys can check that out. It'd be a huge help. Anyways, guys, we'll get right into the video. So we start off by playing Triple AD Debug. Debug functions as a Stratos in this deck. When it's normal, this searches out any side bursts in our deck, and that's really all it functions as. It's also used in combos because it's a level 4, so we can make Abyss Dweller turn run with it. You can place Abyss Dweller with Bagooska if you'd rather play that. And just its ability to be able to tutor anything in the deck is super useful. It is instrumental in a lot of the crazy combos that this deck does, and it's just a great consistency piece. Like, yeah, you can, if you like Veiler or Ash or Impermanence to debug, it's kind of unfortunate because if it goes to the grave for a Link Summon, you can't trigger the Gazelle. But if it doesn't get interrupted, it's just so powerful that like you just have to play it. The upside on this card like significantly outweighs the cons. So we play 3 Stratos, helps us search our deck, more consistency. Again, we play 3 Salamangreat Foxy. Foxy, again, is a consistency piece. When this card is normal summoned, you excavate top 3 cards of your deck, and you can add 1 Salamangreat card from the top 3 to your hand. So it's a +1 on your normal. Sometimes it'll help you dig. But the second effect is what's more useful, is that when you have, if Foxy's in the grave, and there's a face-up spell or trap card in the field, you can discard a Salamangreat, special the Foxy, pop a back row. Like,
so that works even if just Sanctuary is face-up on the field?
Yeah, just Sanctuary, because it's still a face-up spell, right?
Yeah.
And like, the unfortunate thing is you can only use like 1 effect of Foxy in a turn. It's kind of like Shadow Mist. But I mean, if you could use both, the card would be a little insane. Even then, it's still one of the best Salamangreat monsters outside of, you know, the Gazelle and the Spinny. So we play 3. It can dig us out of a tough spot, and it's super useful just to be able to deal with back row. Like, it turns Gazelle into like an out to a lot of floodgates because you can like special the Gazelle or normal the Gazelle, mill the Foxy, trigger the Foxy, pop a back row, you know, go into Mirage Stallion and just like proceed to do crazy stuff to your opponent. So we play 3 of this guy. Then we move on to some of the most important Salamangreats. And the reason why these decks are so powerful, Triple Spinny. Spinny is insane. So you can discard him if you control a Salamangreat monster, target a monster you control, it gains 500 attack. Now, you don't have to target a Salamangreat monster, you can target any monster. So if you're playing stuff like Boral Sword or things like that, like you can buff up a Boral Sword and have it like double attack with like 10k attack. But the more useful part about Spinny is when he's in the graveyard, if you control a Salamangreat monster, you can special Spinny from the grave, but banish him when he leaves the field. Now, we're always just going to be overlaying with this guy anyway, so we're always recycling our Spinny, so it's not even an issue of like him getting banished. His effects are not ones. His effects aren't like, he's not like Foxy with a restriction of you can only use 1 effect. So most of the time you're using both effects of Spinny. You're going to use the effect to pitch him, then special him back right away. It's a little ridiculous when you think about it in like in 2019 to have a card like this, but Spinny's just broken. And then we have Heart and Soul of the deck, our Archetype Armageddon Knight, Salamangreat Gazelle. Gazelle, when he's normal or specialed, he gets to mill a Salamangreat card from your deck. And he triggers, you can special him when a Salamangreat card is sent to the graveyard. So like if you pitch Spinny to buff something by 500 from your hand, Gazelle triggers. If you Link Summon, Gazelle triggers. If you like use the effect of the trap card to send a Salamangreat card from your hand to the graveyard, Gazelle triggers.
You get Kaiju'd.
You get Kaiju'd, this guy triggers. As long as it's sent to the graveyard, a Salamangreat monster, Gazelle triggers. Not just that, there's like a lot of insane combos you can do with him. Sometimes when you brick, you normal the Gazelle, get to the Mirage Stallion, then later you'll bounce the Gazelle for a Falco, then you know you'll link away, special the Gazelle because the effects are like once per turn, like hard once per turn, but you can use each effect. So the card is nuts. This card is insane. Like you can argue with me, like this card is like almost better than Armageddon Knight right now, just because of what it does. Like I'm not gonna get into that, but this card is almost better. This card's insane. This is our Armageddon Knight. We know how powerful that is, and it's you recycle this, and this is how you kill your opponent. Gazelle plus like 1 other card is OTK on an open board. There's a lot of crazy stuff, and we'll show you guys the combos at the end of the video. Now we move on to the 1-up Salamangreats that we play. The 1 Falco. Falco's effect is that when he's sent to the graveyard, from the field to the graveyard, you can set a Salamangreat spell or trap from your graveyard to your side of the field, and when he's in the graveyard, you can bounce a Salamangreat from your field to your hand, and if you do, you can special him. Now, what's important about, and there's a little nuance to this card. So when you have a card on the field, right? Like you have an extra deck monster, you bounce your Salamangreat Great extra deck monster, Falco won't summon himself. But it does let you recycle that extra deck monster if there was something that you needed it for. But really what you're going to be doing sometimes is like you have like your Gazelle, you'll bounce the Gazelle that you normaled, special out the Falco, link the Falco into the Bailing, special the Gazelle, like, you know, continue. It's an extender, it's really good, and it's a way to set your Salamangreat Great spell traps if you don't have access to the Sunlight Wolf. Plus it's a 4, so it's used in combos for that too. And if you don't have if you drew the Jack Jaguar, it's one of the cards that you can bring out. It's just a really powerful card. And then we do play the Jack Jaguar. Jack Jaguar is 1800 attack. The guy has Pierce, which comes up sometimes. And they put the Tsuchinoko in defense mode, and you win in time. But Jack Jaguar is really just useful because you're gonna be invoking him out or specialing him out from the deck. And his effect is that if he's in the graveyard, you can shuffle a Salamangreat card, monster from your graveyard back to your deck, and you can special him to a zone that a Salamangreat monster points to. So what you do is this is how you're triggering. It's part of the main combo. This is how you trigger your Sunlight Wolf. And it recurs itself, and like there's no restriction to this. So it specials itself, and there's no restriction. Like it's not like you get locked out. You can only summon fires, only Salamangreats. So it really helps you link climb and link ladder. 1800 attack is useful because sometimes you put a bunch of these little monsters on board and you just do 8k. The card is nuts, and it doesn't banish itself when it leaves the field. So you're doing this every single turn, recurring advantage. That's all that we play for the Salamangreat Great monsters. Now we're going into supporting engines, and the engine we play is the Speedroid engine. We play the Takatomberg and the Terratop. Now, I know that Terratop is just a one-of, but we decided to play this card just because of how impactful it is when it resolves. When you draw Terratop, your like play lines open up like 7-fold, so this card is just insane. For those who don't know what Terratop does is, if it's normal or specialed, you can search your deck for a Speedroid monster and add it to your hand. And if you don't control a monster, you can special summon Terratop. So it's very similar to like a card like Gazelle or something where it helps itself get on the board. And what you're searching is Takatomberg. And Takatomberg's ability is that if you control a wind monster, you can special Takatomberg. Now it's super used. In the past, Terratop has been used to, make Invoker and summon a monster out from deck. So we have our Inarchetype Invoker. Why wouldn't we play this card? There's a lot of combos I'll show you guys after that involve Terratop and how you can just get the full pop off. And even if you don't draw Terratop, like your regular deck's combos are insane too. But it really increases the ceiling of our deck without playing dangers. And just a point about the dangers is I think that this deck is not aggressive enough or shouldn't be played in a way where the dangers are really maximizing what you're doing. We're playing, Zodiac 2.0. We're not putting, that's not clickbait, okay? Like that's how this deck plays. Like we're playing a deck that's similar to Zoo and similar to Striker in the way it functions. So we don't want to be playing dangers in our deck because we go +4 all the time. That's our combo. So like we don't need to play that. But like this Terratop really functions as like a little danger package where we'll special out the Terratop and just go off from there. The card is super powerful in our deck, and like it does like justify not playing the dangers. Like you could play like Psychic Wielder, but I was like, well, I'm gonna play one Psychic Wielder and I'm gonna play like the Brionac and the extra deck to out those boards, but then I have to hard draw the Psychic Wielder. I don't want to play multiple wielders, so if I'm gonna play like a one-of, it's gonna be a Terratop because it does a lot more on its own. It's not like Wielder, which needs something else on the board. This does something on its own, and it helps us if our normal summon would have been interrupted. We can special the Terratop, force out a negate. This card is insane.
And it unbricks hands as well.
And it unbricks hands. Like I talked a lot about like a one-of that's limited, but the card is insane. So those are all the monsters that we play that are like special summon or engine pieces. Now we're going to go into the hand traps, one of the reasons why people want to play this deck. And we play 3 Ash Blossoms. Common, God bless the reprints. I love the way the commons look, and they do the exact same as the secrets. Ash needs no introduction. The really useful thing in our deck is we can actually recycle Ash with Sunlight Wolf. So you put your opponent in like an infinite Tsukiyomi, so they can't ever play Yu-Gi-Oh! And like just the relevant thing about Ash having 0 attack, which is OTK as well, with Heat Leo and Violet Chimera. The card is insane. It's also a level 3, like just synergizes with this deck. This is the perfect hand trap for this deck. And then the last 3 hand traps we play, or monster hand traps, are the Effect Veilers. Veiler is one of my favorite hand traps ever, and I think this format is insane because it gets around a lot of chain blocking, like things that Ash wouldn't hit, Veiler just hits. And like we're in a format where like people are playing like a lot of these Monster Mash decks, and Effect Veiler really gets through those. You can't chain block your Skull Dread. That's like the worst matchup for this deck, that Danger Thunder deck. So you can't chain block your Skull Dread. I'll just Veiler it. It stops like Levianeers ripping cards or popping your board. It'll stop stuff like Marionetterer. The card is just super, super powerful. And I think just being able to, in the mirror match is also very powerful. And just being able to get around chain links and chain blocks, like the card is really, really good. And I like the negation that Veiler provides. I wouldn't play like cards like you could play Ogre or you could play like Joel or whatever you want to play, but I just personally think that Valor is one of the best hand traps in this format. It's good against the Mirror, it's good against Danger Thunder, it's good against Sky Striker. You can use it against Altergeist, you can use it against like the other rogue decks that are running around, and against decks that really rely on their normal to like resolve, like Valor is just the nuts. Then that's all that we play for the monsters. We'll move on to the spells, and we play triple Call by the Grave. Now, so my theory on Called has always been like, I think this is a card you play in combo decks to push through your combo, right? Like you have this insane board, you want to get your Armageddon Knight to resolve, you want to get your Griffith to resolve, things like that. Like, why wouldn't you play Call by the Grave? In Goki, like you had Invoker and you have Call by the Grave, that's an FTK, right? So we play Armageddon Knight, right? Like we're playing Invoker, so why wouldn't we play Call by the Grave? It's super relevant to help push through our plays. Like we're gonna go +4, so like if you go, and I'll show you that combo after, but if you're gonna like try to hand trap me during my combo and I go 1-for-1 with the Call by the Grave, I'm going +4 on my turn. That's just a hard neg for you. So at that point, I want to simplify the game state. Not just that, Call by the Grave also acts as a pseudo trap card in that we can set it and interrupt our opponent. And because it's a spell card, you can't just like Kaiju or get rid of our Link monster and turn off our other back row. Like this card is still really good. Against Sky Striker, we get Hit the Ray. The Call by the Grave is insane. There's a reason why this card's a $5 common now. The next spell we play, Salamangreat Great Circle.
What does this card do?
This card is Rhoda, and it acts as like a Forbidden Chalice, or Forbidden Lance, Eagle Booster type card. So it's a quick play spell. You can only use one effect per turn. Its effect is that when you activate this card, you can add a Salamangreat card from your deck to a Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand, or you can target one Salamangreat Link monster that was Reincarnate linked. Yeah, that's the word we'll use. Reincarnation Link summoned. Whatever. It was summoned using its own name, and it's unaffected by monster effects for the rest of the turn. The card is insane. It's one of the ways we can play around Joel and Lockbird, where like we'll go like, because this deck really searches twice, and that's like maximum. Like we'll go like normal debug, we'll go search, our opponent will go like, we'll search like a Gazelle, our opponent will go Joel and Lockbird, I'll go chain Salamangreat Circle, Circle resolves, Joel resolves, I don't care. I'm not searching anyway for the rest of the turn. So the card's really, really good. Again, it's a card that we can recycle over and over again and just abuse. Like this card is nuts. Why wouldn't you play 3 more searchers, right? Especially as a quick play searcher, like it's nuts. Now we play the one of Salamangreat spells. We play the Sanctuary. Sanctuary is used because we search it off the Balinks, and its effect is that it helps us reincarnate Link by using that monster once per turn. But also it has a secondary effect where you can, like when a Link monster battles, you can pay 1,000 life points and make a Link monster's attack 0, and you can gain that attack, so it's like relevant in like time, I guess, when you're attacking directly or something. It almost never comes up. It's just a free +1 that we get off our Balinks that lets us continue our combos, and it's just a very powerful card. It is a combo piece, so we just play the 1 because we don't want to draw it. We always want to plus with it. Then we play the 1 Fusion of Fire. This card is insane. It lets us OTK. It lets us play through so many different things, and it lets us summon Violet Chimera. It lets us fusion summon Salamangreat monster using monsters on either side of the field or in our hand.
It's like a super poly.
It's like a super poly. And Violet Chimera's requirements are 1 Salamangreat monster, 1 Link monster. So you fuse away their Kagari, you fuse away their Shizuku, you fuse away their Sunlight, you fuse away their whole board. Like in the mirror, you go, okay, Fusion of Fire, fuse away your Mirage Stalio and your Sunlight Wolf, or fuse away your Sunlight Wolf and your Jack Jaguar if it's in defense position. You know, you bring out the Violet Chimera, Heat Leo, lower, attack for game. The card is insane, that's why we play it. And it's searchable, like technically searchable, so we only need to play 1. If it is more of a Salamangreat, like a defined metagame, we would play more. The card is nuts, you definitely need to play this card. Then we play the 1 Upstart because consistency, we want to play a 39 card deck, card's nuts. Now we'll go into the trap cards. We play the triple Infinite Impermanence. This is like really one of the most expensive parts about the deck. You don't actually have to play Impermanence. You could play something like, you could play Droll here, you could play Ghost Ogre here, you could play Forbidden Chalice here. It doesn't, Lost Wind is a really good card as well. You could play more of like Floodgates. Anyways, the card is nuts, it's a hand trap. And again, it functions in a lot of the same ways as Effect Veiler does, in that it gets around chain blocking, it gets around a lot of those cards that like Ash doesn't hit, like Impermanence just answers. Plus, it'll go through like, as a thought, it'll go through like Call by the Grave. Like the card is really, really good. And it also functions like going first and going second. It's a trap card, so the card is really insane. You don't have to, like, if you don't want to buy this card, don't buy this card. It's getting a reprint in April. Like, you don't need to pick this up now. You can play your Forbidden Chalices, you can play your Breakthrough Skills, you can play your Lost Wind. I'd probably play Lost Wind, or you could just increase your hand trap count. Then we'll go into the Solemn package that we're playing. 2 strikes and a warning. I couldn't find space to fit the third strike, but strike is super powerful because this is it's a hand trap, or sorry, it's a trap. It's a removal. It's a 1-for-1 that answers a threat and also turns off like once per turn effects. Like you go Hawk, then I go Solemn Strike your Hawk. Like now you didn't use your hand effect, you can't summon your Colossus, and I can really just win from there. The card is nuts. It's also against Sky Striker. Like once you strike the summon of a Link monster, you usually just win the game because you're so far ahead at that point. And the card's really good in the mirror as well. It's a very powerful card. Couldn't find space for 3 because I wanted to fit in the Solemn Warning. In the mirror match, interrupting the normal summon is one of the best things you can do. It's why I'm thinking about a lot of other spicy techs that are coming up soon. But Warning is nuts because if you stop the normal, like a lot of the times they can't trigger their abilities. And because the card never hit the field, it never like it's just insane against a lot of decks. Like Warning is just one of the most ignorant cards you can play. So we play it. Then we play the one of Imperial Order. The card's a win condition. You flip it, and we don't play that many spells. I think we play like 8 spells. You flip it against Striker, you win the game, so why wouldn't we play the card? The card is nuts, and we can afford to play it, so we should make room for one-ofs that win us the game, right? Like, we're playing Zoo. Zoo played Order. Makes sense. And then we go to the Salamangreat cards. So we play the one Rage. Rage's effect is, it's a Regeki break, but you can send monsters from, you can send a card from your field instead, a Salamangreat card. And then the second effect is what's really insane, is that if you control a Salamangreat Link monster that was Link summoned using its name, so Reincarnation linked, you can target that monster, and then you can destroy cards up on the field up to the Link rating. Meaning, you target a Link 2, you control a Sunlight Wolf, you gotta pop 2 cards on the field, non-targeting. You target Heatleo, 3 cards on the field, non-targeting. This card is insane. I'm thinking about bumping this up to 2 just because of how powerful it is. And if they do Kaiji your Salamangreat monster, you can still use the first effect to really deal with like a pop. And then it just acts as a Regeki break. And then the last one we play is the Salamangreat Roar. Roar is insane. It is like our in-archetype Inferni barrier. So when a spell or trap card is activated or a monster effect while you control a Salamangreat Link monster, negate it, destroy it. When this card's in the graveyard, and like you Reincarnation Link a Salamangreat, it sets itself. So if you have like both of these in the grave, you can like Sunlight Wolf add this, but like you can Reincarnation Link the Sunlight Wolf, you know, set this again with its own effect, Sunlight Wolf add back this, and you get like 2 interruptions just off that card. That's why we only play 2, is because we can recycle them very easily, either by their own effect or by Sunlight Wolf. I only chose to play one of this because like you can search it, and if you're only going to use it really once, if you need to use it twice, like the game's probably over anyway, like in either way. So the card's really powerful, and this is one of the reasons to play the deck. Just being able to end on a searchable negate every single time is insane. So that's the main deck, guys. We play 40 cards in the main. We'll move on to the extra deck now. And for that, we play the triple Balinks. This is our Link 1 that points down. Like, okay, so from a design perspective, a Link 1 that points down is so insane. Like, think about how insane Link Kuriboh is, right? It's such a simple card, but it does so much. The same thing for Balinks. Balinks requires 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster. They give you an Ibli, you make a Balinks. And its effect is when it's Link summoned, you can search your deck for a Salamangreat Sanctuary. And there's like this like cute little thing we can do, right? Is that we can like chain block. So we go like, you know, make us out like link into the Balinks. We go Balinks, Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2 Gazelle, so you know they can't ash the Balinks, so we get our Sanctuary. Gazelle will summon, you know, mill a card after it's summoned. Like, there's a lot we can really do. The Balinks is insane because it searches the Sanctuary, which is a necessary combo piece. And, yeah, and it's also just a Link 1 that points down. But a secondary effect is what's really nuts. So when it's in the graveyard, if a Salamangreat monster you control or Salamangreat cards you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this instead. So it's like Return of the Dragon Lords. You go Regeki, you go Balinks Protect, they go like Twin Twisters, and like they target like your field spell, you go like Balinks Protect, like the card is insane. Moving on from that, we play the triple Sunlight Wolf, the $10 rare. This card is nuts. Like, this is our Kagari, really. Like, what it does is, so its effect is that when a monster is special or normal, I think, to the Link zone this thing points to, you can add back a fire monster from your graveyard to your hand, but you can't use that card, blah, 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 rest of the turn. Doesn't matter. That's not what it's relevant for. It usually is set up for next turn, like, in terms of either, like, adding back. It can recycle an Ash Blossom because that's a fire card, or recycle, like, a Gazelle for your next turn. And then the secondary effect is, if it's Reincarnation linked, you can, if the card itself is Reincarnation linked, it's a manual activation, you can target a Salamangreat spell or trap in your graveyard, add it to your hand. That's nuts. That's not once per while this card is face up on the field. If it lasts, you search again, like you're adding again, you're recycling again. And the card is nuts because you can add back, you can Gazelle, mill Fusion of Fire, Sunlight Wolf, add back Fusion of Fire, Gazelle, mill, like, you know, Roar, add back Roar, Rage, add back Rage. This card is nuts. It's an instrumental to all our combos to end on negates, and the card is the heart and soul of the deck. Then we go on to the last Link 2 we play, which is the Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix has added synergy in our deck because it's a fire monster, so we can still trigger its effects under Mirage Stalio. Not just that, the card itself is really powerful, and it's really easy to get the co-link off, just like this. This is why you play it. I'm not going to talk more about Nightmare Phoenix. I do that too much in my other videos. Then we play the Salamangreat Link 3, Salamangreat Heatleo. So this card's effects aren't once per turn. This card is kind of insane. When this card is Link summoned, you can target one back row your opponent controls, shuffle it into the deck. So you can summon Heatleo, shuffle back a back row. Reincarnate Link, summon Heatleo, shuffle back a back row. It's the second effect that really lets us kill our opponent. So if it's Reincarnation Linked, you can target one card in your graveyard, one monster in your graveyard, and one card they control. The monster on the field becomes the attack of the monster in the grave. Example, you target Ash Blossom on your graveyard, you target, like, I don't know, Borrelsword or some insane monster on their side of the field, and now Borrelsword has 0 attack, which means Violet Chimera can kill Borrelsword, and you take like 10k. This is how we OTK. It's, again, just another really powerful removal tool that we have in our arsenal, as well as just being able to just deal with big bodies that we couldn't, like, kill normally. So that's that. And the Link 4 we play is Borreload Dragon. Because we're playing Violet Chimera, we don't need Borrelsword's ability to kill. We'd rather have the Borreload to be able to, like, steal our monster out of threat, and the card itself can't be targeted. Like, Ultrageist can sometimes be annoying, but Ultrageist can't out Borreload. The card is really, really powerful. I don't need to talk about Borreload. This dude is, like, the best Link 4 in our game right now, like, outside of maybe Skull Dread. Then we play Double Mirage Stalio. This is Invoker. So it's generic 2 level 3s, which is why you play the Terratop. Its effect is attach material, special summon a Salamangreat from your deck. Any Salamangreat monster. But then you can't use effects except fire monster effects. It doesn't lock you out from specialing, just using effects. Great. And the secondary effect of this card is insane. If it's linked away as link material for a Salamangreat Link monster, you can bounce a monster your opponent controls. So outs Colossus, it does a lot of that. And this is really how we get this is like the bridge to our combos. This is a combo starter, it's an extender. This card is broken. Like, anything that invokers from the deck is insane. And with, like, just being able to, like, do 2k is relevant. Now we go to the generic cards that we play. Excuse me. We play the number 75 Bamboozling Gossip Shadow just because it is a generic 3 that we can use for negates. Gossip Shadow was used in Rongo. RIP that deck and good riddance to be able to, like, stun your opponent from playing the game. We use it as a generic 3 to negate. And in the combo, I'll show you guys, we can end on 2 negates with this. This card's secondary effect is that if a monster effect is activated, detached to material, that effect becomes both players draw a card. So it just lets you draw a card and turns off, like, a really impactful effect from your opponent. Like, you go, like, I don't know, summon 11-year effect. I'm like, nope, Gossip Shadow, let me draw a card. Or anything else like that. Then we play the one Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is a rank 4 of choice. I think this card is better than Maguska. I think this card is one of the most broken cards ever printed. And so that's why we play it. It shuts off the Mirror Match, shuts off Dino, shuts off Burning Abyss, shuts off Thunder Dragons. Orcust. True Draco. Like, the card has so much coverage, and just in one card being able to turn all that stuff off. This card's basically Azathoth. People are complaining about Azathoth. They're not complaining about Abyss Dweller. That's crazy. And the last card we play is the Salamangreat Violent Chimera. This is how we kill people. Violet Chimera requires 1 Link monster, 1 Salamangreat monster. Fusion of Fire gets this guy out. And what you do, and it gains attack equal to the combined attack of the Link monsters. The combined attack the monsters use to summon it, like, divided by 2. So, like, he usually gains, like, 2k attack, which is either 4,800. And if he battles a monster that has like less attack or different attack from its original attack, it does double battle damage. So you'll summon this. You'll Heatleo, make a monster 0, summon the Violet Chimera. Violet Chimera will be like at 4k usually. Attack into the monster that has 0 attack. Do 8k with Violet Chimera. Man. You one punch man your opponent. Like, this is not Violet Chimera. It should be Violent Chimera, because that's what he does. One punch. And if he's used, if you use himself, like, to make him, like, he has some other effect where he can automatically make that monster attack 0 for the damage calculation. It doesn't matter, but, like, it comes up. Like, if they leave in the mirror, if they leave their Violet Chimera on the board, you, like, you do it, and you're like, all right, nice game, bro. So the card is nuts. The side deck has always been up to your local metagame. There's a lot you can play. Like, this whole deck, like, there's a lot you can play. You could cut, like, 20 cards from this deck, and your list will look completely different from mine. This is just a list that I've tested extensively that I think is, like, super powerful, but there's a lot you can do with it. Like, that's what's the craziest thing about this deck is you can throw whatever you want in it. There's, like, other variants. So, again, for the side deck, you just side for your metagame. And, guys, thank you very much for checking out the video. We haven't been uploading as much as we do normally, but we will get onto that. Thank you, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the like button, right? Check out the Patreon. Abdullah signing out.